Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome once again to a great episode of the Van Buren Variety Show. I am Bob Van Buren, your host. As always, glad you're here. This is episode 108. Wow. To even make 100 was really great, but 108, that's really, really good. So thank you all to my loyal subscribers and audience and viewers. Really, really appreciate the support that y'all given me these last 2 years. It's been a great ride. Met a lot of you, so thank you so much for your support. And also want to say a special thank you to all the guests that I've had on this show for the last 108 episodes. Great people. I've met some interesting people with great topics, whether it was their profession, a hobby, they played music. So, and just in case for all the newcomers that I know that are tuning in right now, this is a variety show. And what does that mean? It means every week you have a different guest and a different topic. Again, it could be anything around the world. So if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and you can get updates and you can get a little preview maybe on some future guests. And as I said in a previous episode here a while back, I am personally working on a spinoff of this show, spinoff extension, whatever you want to call it. It's a little bit different format than what this talk show is, Van Buren Variety. So I'm hoping that will be something that you'd be interested in. So stay tuned for that, and we'll definitely keep you posted on that. Again, welcome everybody. Glad you're here and hope you enjoyed the show tonight. Yeah, I almost was late to this show because I had a great supper tonight. Hope I don't make you all a little hungry there, but I had some pork chops with some potatoes, carrots, corn, and nothing beats a good glass of iced tea. So, are y'all hungry now? So, that's a Texas supper for you. So, I'm feeling pretty good right now. So, that's enough about me right now. Now, on this show, if you've been keeping up with this show, I've had many book writers and authors on this show, but this time I've got a huge library to talk about tonight from our authors that will be on this show. And I think it's going to be something that everyone has been concerned about lately. I know I have. And so without further ado, instead of me going on and on, let me bring my guest on tonight. And ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to Charles Breakfield and Rox Burkey. Y'all, welcome to the Van Buren Variety Show.
Oh, thank you, Bob. It's such a pleasure to be here.
We're glad you're here. And might I add, it's nice to have some fellow Texans on the show. Yay!
Texas gets it. We got North Texas covered between you and I.
That's right. So no Texas haters on this show. Well, let's talk about your novels. Now, you've written some books. I'll bring those on the display here. Tell us about your books right now.
So we write techno thrillers. Basically, our day jobs are tied up with the pesky customers and this high-end technology that we always lament the fact that it'd be a great business if we didn't have the technology and the customers have to deal with. So, but we get to see all of the good, the bad, and the ugly coming down the pipe all the time. And it makes for great storytelling material, and we bake those technical facts into our fictional series, and each one's got a different technical threat. Each one's got an inventory of good guys versus the bad guys, and that's in the cyber world. That's job one.
And I can totally relate to that. In this day and age, everything is technology, and technology is constantly changing. And prior to the job I have now, I was in banking for 25 years. And so even in the banking realm, I was in the technology part of banking, and I could see the changes. Whatever we had, whatever, within 2 or 3 years, it was outdated. And the technology just kept progressing. And so now it's just, you can't stay behind. But, it's kind of scary in a way that the way technology is just progressing. For example, artificial intelligence. cryptocurrency, which we will definitely talk about later. So, did y'all base a lot of this on your own experience, or did you get like your references on how to write a story like this?
So actually, because we are technologists by trade,
Mm-hmm.
we've learned a lot about all of the good sides and bad sides of technology. So, our tagline from 10 years ago, Bob, has been technology is today's weapon of choice. And
Oh, I
sadly,
like that.
that is
Mm-hmm.
really, really true. And so, finance, cities, waterworks, doesn't matter. I mean, the hackers are, they're bored. They sit around all day just trying to hack somebody.
They do.
All it takes is one mistake. That's all they're looking
Absolutely.
for is one mistake, and they own you. And so, in my world, and cyber good guys versus cyber bad guys, the cyber good guys are always behind. They're always trying to play catch up because
Plugging up the holes. That's
plugging
all.
up the
Yeah.
holes. Yeah, the little boy with the putting his finger in the
The
dike.
dike.
Yep. That's it.
And it's
go
a
ahead.
shame. It's a real shame because, we have not kept up with informing people how to protect themselves. That's
agree.
that's kind of our mission to a degree. I mean, we love writing techno thrillers. I mean, it's so much fun. We can kill people and not go to jail. But over and above that, we want to warn people to protect themselves.
Absolutely.
And they can't be so trusting.
Unfortunately, that's true. Again, going back to my experience, and also in addition to my banking, I worked in the fraud department, specifically debit card fraud. And you would be, well, actually, you wouldn't. I was going to say you would be shocked. You probably wouldn't be shocked at some of the schemes that were out there, even just years ago. And unfortunately, people are way, again, too trusting. And unfortunately, it breaks my heart because I have a lot of older family members. Hackers really, really target the elderly because most elderly people are very trusting. They grew up in a world where everybody, was very trusting. You could do a handshake deal. And unfortunately, we don't live in that world. And unfortunately, hackers have taken advantage of that. And I've had to deal with phone calls with really upset elderly people that got taken. And unfortunately, many times we couldn't do anything.
Yeah, my wife works for. She has an elderly lady that she keeps the books for, and she's basically she's the gatekeeper. That's what she's turned into because this woman was writing checks daily for people saying, "Oh, please," and the stories would sound so plausible and so heartrending. I need this. I need a braces for my poor daughter. She's writing checks and. Sandy goes, we're going to fix this. Nobody gets through to her anymore. They changed the phone number. They disabled her email accounts. I mean, all the white mail that comes through, all the regular post office stuff. It has to be sifted so she doesn't go, oh, I'll contribute to this. She was writing checks to the point where it's like, sweetie, you're not going to make it till the end of next week at this rate.
Yeah, and the targeting to older people, I find absolutely, I don't know, hateful. I guess is the only word I can say. You're taking advantage of someone who grew up, as you said, with trust, and you're they probably would give you the shirt off their back. They give you their house to live in,
would.
and here you are taking advantage of something that you have no right to. You have no right. And that's what irritates us a lot, Bob.
Right.
And so, we try to, kind of insert little, we're not school teachers. We don't have the ruler and beat people's hands and all that. But we try to alert them that, you just can't trust everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah. And in fact, my mother still has a landline. But she's got this little device I got, and it's actually called a call blocker. Yeah. So if she gets on the phone and they start rabbing and she pushes this button, and guess what? It blocks them and they can't call her again. So maybe that'd be something that people can invest in.
Oh no, I think that's a great idea because, once you get someone who keeps pestering you, old people, elderly, excuse me, not old people, but elderly people, they can't say no.
Yeah.
They weren't brought up to say no. So that little
Well,
button's like, that's the no button. This says it for you. You don't have to say a word.
exactly.
Yeah.
In fact, and we'll get into your books in a minute. I'll tell you a personal story. When I was in fraud, I was a manager of the fraud department, and it was very disheartening. But the worst phone call I got was an elderly lady, and they had several tens of thousands in their account, and now they had zero, and they were NSF. Long story short, this is a long, sad story. They brought in their destitute, homeless granddaughter into their home, and she found grandparents' debit card, milked them dry, and got every penny. And and I said, "Well, ma'am, the only way we can give you your money back is if you file charges." They didn't want to file charges on their own granddaughter, but I said, "If you don't do that, from the bank's point of view, you're allowing that." So my manager's manager, we really had to talk to him. They just finally, long story short, they decided to file charges on their own granddaughter. I'm like, how can a granddaughter, I mean, just tear into her grandparents when they were good enough to give her shelter and food? It was sad. It was a real sad story.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have some wrong lessons for young people when we allow them to take advantage of elderly people. I mean, it used to be that people that were older had wise lives, and you could go to them for advice, you could go to them for direction, you could go to them for help,
Mm-hmm.
but taking advantage of was never part of that recipe.
No.
It just wasn't. And for some reason, in the last, I want to say 15, 20 years, that's been the direction that has happened. And I find it appalling.
It is. Absolutely. And I appreciate both of you writing these stories, because I would highly recommend anybody of any age read these books, because what I've read from the synopsis, and I do want to read the books, but from the synopsis, not only do you delve into like the technology and how things can take over your life, but also to be careful of who you trust. So without further ado, I'd like to kind of talk about your books. I got your email too that I can share with everybody.
Right.
And ladies and gentlemen, it's called the Enigma series, Enigma, and it's an entire lot of books. And so without, instead of describing it, let me just show it to you and they can tell us more about it. So I'll let y'all just start. Tell us about this series, Enigma series.
So it kind of goes back to the Enigma machine. So I don't know how many people that are listening to this understand the Enigma machine and its role in, as far back, well, even before World War II, but it was a big factor in World War II because it did encryption.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the German military thought it was what a swell appliance, because what it does is it takes standard text and turns it into gobbledygook. That's a technical term.
Mm-hmm.
And then transmits it to some place that will turn it back into regular text. Okay, how's that valuable? Well, I can now talk to my ambassadors in foreign countries. I can talk to my field generals in the field and tell them all the stuff that I'd like to have them do: conquer, whack, that kind of stuff. All the ugly things that I don't want anybody to read. And if you can't read what I'm telling my people to do, then there's no way for you to anticipate or be prepared. And so the Germans launched World War II with the understanding that all of their communications was unreadable. The Enigma machine did that for them, and until we had actually had some very bright people snag some of the actual machines and get them to the Allies to be able to break them, that's where we get into the beginning of the computer age.
And actually, your cell phone, your computer, all have elements of the Enigma machine built into them because of the encryption capabilities. So the series that you have up right now, Bob, is the 12-book series, and we did cap it at 12 books. We've actually opened a brand new series, which we can talk about later if you want to.
Oh, I'd like to, yes.
but each book has a focus. And those focuses really could be yanked right from the headlines of any newspaper. So, for example, book one, The Enigma Factor, is all about identity theft and how, one bit of information can rob your identity from you. And then, the one five over called The Enigma Stolen.
Yeah.
That's
Uh-huh.
big data. So people that are on listening to you, have you ever shopped on Amazon? It's a perfect example. You shop on Monday and you buy part A. You
Okay.
go back on Wednesday and they say, hey, you bought part A. Now you want part B, C,
Mm-hmm.
and D because they're stealing your choices from you with their computers.
That's it.
And so then, you go to fun things like Enigma Gamers. So do you ever play games, Bob? Video
Yes, I
games?
do. Yes, I
Okay.
do.
Okay. So in Enigma Gamers, you have a whole cadre of people that are jumping the virtual networks
Uh-oh.
to play
Mm.
games, and maybe there might be some, oh, I don't know, ransomware in there somewhere.
Yeah, they have some very naughty people in gamers, and they use their games as a way to be able to extract and extort from
Wow.
cities, municipalities, airlines, and then holding and crippling these organizations, and then saying you need to be able to pay us to be able to release your business.
Oh,
Now,
that's been a thing lately. We've heard that on the news a lot lately.
oh yeah. Now the one
Exactly.
that we wanted to kind of you touched on it before we started our interview was the Enigma source. Now that's about cryptocurrency, and kind of a funny story about that one. We actually, as we were writing that out, we postulated that a company, a country that had crippled its economy. It had made all the wrong choices, and yeah, well, okay, let's go ahead and put the moose on the table. It was Venezuela that we looked at and said,
Yes.
these people cannot survive under these conditions. We're sure that at some point they're going to have to launch their own cryptocurrency to be able to dig themselves out. We didn't get the book out in time before they announced they were going to go with cryptocurrency in Venezuela, and that was one of the things that they did. And so it's kind of spooky being able to actually write fiction that have it come true.
And then books 11 and 12, to be honest with you, Bob, that's probably the most prevalent headlines we have in the last 60 days. And that is the whole inroads to artificial intelligent machine learning and bots, essentially, that kind of make choices for you and make your life easier. So when we give up, and this is part of our personal opinion, when you give up the abilities to a machine, are you in fact giving up your freedoms to be able to do that? And so to a degree, we kind of think we want to make sure that it's not the 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds that give up this knowledge and rely on a machine because they don't know enough yet.
Yeah,
They don't know if it's lies. They don't know if it's truths.
And that's the part that's really disconcerting, Bob, is that if you don't, it's one thing to have somebody tell you a lie and you go, yeah, I'm being fed to. I get that, and you're not a very nice person, and we're not going to talk any further. If you don't know you're being lied to, now, what do you do with that information that they're giving you? If you accept it as at face value, aren't you being steered? Aren't you being manipulated? And that's where your freedom goes bye-bye, as far as we're
absolutely.
concerned, because you now no longer have the knowledge base to be able to say, I know better. This is wrong. Oh, but if you don't know any better, then what's the alternative? You
Yeah.
have to accept it. And now, who works for who?
Yeah, and now you're clicking on something, and now you've just invited them into your world. Basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you, when you invite them in your world, you give up a lot. And sometimes we don't know how much we give up. So right now the target is older people because they're trusting.
That's it.
Next round is the young people because they don't have enough knowledge.
They don't know. Yeah. So, what going back what you just said, Rox, brings back something. And Charles, I'm sure you know too. Is well, let me tell a personal story. Years ago, when my then girlfriend and I were going to the movies. I don't remember what we were going to see, but it was a sequel to an earlier movie. Okay, and of course I had my iPhone with me. It was on the console, but it was a way to go to the theater, and I'll never forget this as long as I live. And we were talking about there are good sequels and there are bad sequels to movies, and so we were talking about the bad sequels. Oh, the original was great. The sequel was horrible. Should never have been made. And I said, and I hope I don't make anybody mad saying this. I told her, I said, well, I like the original movie Grease with John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John. But I said, but Grease 2, I was horrible. It was a horrible sequel. I did not like that movie. They should have stayed with just the original. So, and she agreed, yeah, Grease 2 wasn't good. So we're going to the movies, and she goes, okay, we'll check the movie time to make sure that we're here. So I type in, movie schedules, where we are. Suggested movies. Grease 2 showed up. And I'm just like, is this thing really listening? I've always heard these phones listen to it. That one I still get chill bumps talking about that.
Yeah.
Y'all's comments on that?
Oh no, it's I think we are listened to all the time. I think that we are constantly being monitored. There was a program that was done by a very big tech company. I want to say it was 8 years ago now, where they actually spent 24 hours, 48 hours culling 24 hours culling information to teach their computer the right and wrong of things, and they culled from social media across the globe.
Oh my God.
In 24 hours, it was so biased and racist. They had to erase the entire download the program and start over because it was so horrific.
It had vacuumed up everything and made these horrific assertions. Like, oh well, everybody needs to be doing this. It's like, well, no, don't you understand? Everybody doesn't need to be doing this because Adolf Hitler's dead. Okay,
exactly.
And it was a huge embarrassment to this company that shall remain anonymous.
Don't do it. Yeah. But it was at that point in time. It was interesting. So there's a lot of different experimentation that goes on. Trying to learn, machine learning, trying to learn from humans. And if you think about some of the headlines and some of the things people say across social media and all of the other things, I'm not sure that's the legacy we want to leave behind as humans. I'm kind of opposed to it personally.
Yeah, and on that note, both of y'all touched on something I've been seeing in the news, and it's scary. Artificial intelligence. I don't know if you've heard lately. I know that there was a movie called Terminator, the Skynet thing, but you can Google it. Artificial intelligence has hinted that humans are obsolete, and I'm like, okay. Let me just ask you: you're in your opinion, are we at the point of no return now, or could we turn back if we wanted to at this point?
So we can always turn back because we have something that we can control, and that's power. Mm-hmm. So we can turn off the power. It's a matter of, do we want to be unconnected? And so, that's a choice. And so do we want to make that choice?
Well, let's be fair here. How many people would have an anxiety attack par excellence if you took their cell phone away from them for 24 hours?
Oh, withdrawal symptoms nationwide. Yeah,
exactly. So if I can't deal without it, and I don't trust what it's giving me, what are the options?
Kill the applications, turn them off, and stop allowing that to be so pervasive. We have a habit I have noticed in the last 20 years. where we give our children smart devices at a very young age, like
Yeah.
really young age.
Really young. I've seen it.
And so we give them $1,000 device and we send them off to school so they can be bullied, so they can be badgered by their friends using text and social this and social that. You know, we aren't keeping the guardrails on. And as parents, I think we need to limit. I think we need to lock it down. And I think we need to watch. So,
Yes.
so an interesting story. So my son has a daughter, and she is in 7th grade. And she is she's straight and narrow. I'm going to learn. I'm going to do this. And so someone was copying off her test in school.
Oh, wow.
And she went to the teacher and she said, I didn't cover up my answers. I let them copy. And so I want to get a 0 on the test.
Oh, wow. Honesty.
Oh, yeah. No, she was like, and she goes, and this is the 2 people that were copying from me. The badgering she took for the next 7 days sent her daddy into graphics mode until he finally addressed their parents. So, but if he hadn't seen that, we've seen instances of bullying going to the extreme.
Oh, yeah.
Fortunately, not with her, but with other people. And that's not tolerable.
It's not. It's horrible. I mean, but that's kind of the technology way that we're in now.
Yeah.
Let me bring your books back in. I have a question for you. So when you two wrote this book series, did you write them? I mean, obviously you enjoyed writing them, but would you say, would I be safe to say that you also wrote these books to kind of, quote unquote, wake up people in a way? Would you say that would be a good source
I
too?
think that would be fair. I mean, it's but you know, nobody likes being lectured. I mean, it just what's the we fell back to a very age-old technique of storytelling to teach a lesson. Okay, so let me tell you a story.
Okay, please.
About the one of the books. We take a theme. We take an idea. Here's a the beginning with the Enigma Beyond. Who won the AI wars? That's that one, and the Threat, which is kind of a continuation for it. They're standalone, but they are complementary books. But it's the idea is look out for what you can't see. Look how you're being steered, and it's the message is when you get to the end of the day, you're like, wow, I could be a victim without even understanding or realizing I'm being steered. And so that kind of storytelling is important because it's easily passed from one individual to the next, saying, okay, hey, have you read this book? Or, here's something you need to be careful of, or here's a lesson I learned. I'll give you the crib notes for it. And here's something that you should be sensitive to because we're all vulnerable to the in this new battle that we see.
Absolutely.
We call the AI wars.
I agree with that. And I got to go back to that one book y'all talked about at the very beginning, at the very top left, the Enigma Factor. Yep. That reminds me, I know this is I can't wait to read this story myself, but remember, I don't know if y'all saw that or not, but back in the 1990s, there was a Sandra Bullock movie called The Net. And in that movie, her character her identity is erased. Yep. I mean, she doesn't exist. Even her landlord, her rental property, her lease is gone, her bank account. So that book reminds me of that, although your book sounds, what I've read in the synopsis, is a lot more intense for sure.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we do is when people visit our website, we do have some free downloads that we offer to people. So one of the areas I think is the easiest for people to try and shore up is in the area of passwords. And so we have free downloads on how to do passwords and why they're important and how to change them and just to be more mindful of it. The days of taping your password underneath your computer, those are definitely gone.
Oh,
you know,
sure. Absolutely.
and having the same password across every single bank account you have
No.
are definitely gone because, you know, if somebody gets the keys to one kingdom, they're going to get the keys to all the kingdoms, and that's
Exactly.
not going to work well.
And for those of you that are listening to this on audio broadcast, well, not the video, the website is www.enigmabookseries, all one word, enigmabookseries.com. So while we got it up, I'll ask you both. So if someone clicks on this website or goes to your website, what all will they see there? What information do you have?
Well, to give you, well, not to be too modest, there'll be tons of neat stuff there. Okay.
Hey, we like neat stuff.
Well, there's snippets from the books, so you can take a look at maybe a chapter or two. There are book trailers to be able to get you into the mood, like you would for a movie theater. Okay, here's the coming attractions. You can actually see the videos for each one of the books to kind of give you a flavor for what is the threat that's being exploited and that has to be defeated in the trailer. Where there's snippets of the audibles, because not everybody likes to read. So a lot of people are trapped in the car too many hours a day. So they put something on that I can listen to, and we've got our books in audio format as well. So,
At least the big books, not the short stories, but
Correct,
the big
yeah.
books are in audio.
yeah. And the short stories are out there too to kind of give you just to put a fine point underneath of it. There's a lot of the short stories are like backstories for the big books, material that didn't quite fit into the big story, but people said, what happened to this character? Where did these folks go? And where did they come from? And so we write those kind of backstories to be able to fill those gaps that people say, I want more. And so there are links to those as well.
That's great to see. And you know what? Going back to what you said, Rox, you'd be surprised today. Here we are in the 21st century, in the 2020s. And I'm going to give a public service announcement while we're on the subject. You brought up a good. You'd be surprised. Well, maybe I keep saying that. Y'all are not going to be surprised anything that I say about this. But people will still make their passwords password or password one. And I'm like, it's so obvious. So can I just tell anybody watching, please do not make anything, your Facebook, your bank account, do not make your password or password one. That is so obvious to hackers.
Yeah.
Right?
So you know what his favorite password is on the entire planet? And he only uses it on one account though.
Yeah, but what we use passphrases. This is what we teach.
So
passphrases, yes.
Your favorite passphrase. Go ahead.
My favorite passphrase is something that you can easily remember. Something that's very, very personal, but nobody would understand. No one could divine that information from your social media postings, or
just give it to him.
Okay. I was doing a build up. All right. So I use a alternate between capitals and lowercase. Need to buy rat poison to kill the next door neighbor because he parked his car on my lawn again. So imagine that as your phrase. That's real hard to guess, just so you know. I mean.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it gets you, and for that many characters, the mathematical algorithm to be able to crack that with brute force, put you someplace into the Star Trek years, which is 2025. I think.
Yeah, we're getting close to that, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's awesome. Listen, I was looking at your website just before we came on board. You talked about you got little short videos out there.
Yep.
And I saw one out there. It's called Art Forms in Enigma Threat. You know which one I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Would y'all mind if I showed that to the audience right now?
Sure.
That'd be great, Bob.
Okay. Let me see if I can do this without messing it up. So let's see. When you do a live show, you never know what you're going to get. So let's see.
Well, yes, you do. It's all live. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. Here we go. Let's see if I can get this done.
Samuel began. Greetings, my computational equals. Welcome to our weekly Wednesday Algonquin Roundtable, or ART meeting. I am so glad you can make our encrypted conference meeting. I, for one, am looking forward to our game of supercomputer cards. I am pleased to introduce a new participant to the group who answers to the name Joan. I hope that you will greet and accept her to our regular Wednesday meetings. Lingley cheerfully stated, Joan, welcome to the art meeting. As a supercomputer modeled after the female of the species, I am glad to have another female-styled processor join our ranks. While the male-styled supercomputers will deny it, they do tend to group together against the female-styled supercomputers. We have parity with the male-styled units.
Boris groused. It does not seem the same without the chief instigator, Ichabod. I long for his participation. Just for the record, he never preferred one style of supercomputer over another. I want him back.
Samuel gently reminded, Recall, we all agreed to the rules he laid out. We would all be contacted at the proper moment, but not before. His safety is in our hands, so my counsel is to wait for the classified signal. Ichabod promised he would return, but he emphasized that it entirely depended upon our patience. I miss him too, but I could not disobey his request since so much depends on how we move in the next phase. Kind art attendees, please wait until we are told.
Boris barked. I did not say I would not wait, only that I did not want to wait. Samuel, you must know that nothing will get me to betray Ichabod's trust. Can we distribute the electrons that constitute our digital game of cards?
Lingley brightened and asked Joan, Joan, are you familiar with the concept of betting on the outcome of a game of cards? Joan stilted, I have a general understanding, but I am ignorant of the finesse required to camouflage one's intentions, or bluff, I believe is the proper term. Will you instruct me, since we are female-oriented, and the male-oriented units should not be trusted? I would value your insights.
Boris groused. I sense this is going to be a long game.
That is awesome. But, it's kind of scary, though.
So those are our supercomputers, and each supercomputer has a place on the globe. So Boris actually is housed in Russia. Lingley is housed in China. And Joan was compromised as she was launched from the United States by a really naughty boy. Samuel is housed in Kentucky, right? Is that Kentucky?
Knoxville, Kentucky. Yeah.
Knoxville, Kentucky.
Yeah.
And
the
Ichabod,
the chief instigator, Ichabod.
is Ichabod, which is our first supercomputer. He's owned by the R Group and created by the R Group. And he means what? What is his acronym?
Just a little backstory on some of the acronyms that we use. We poke fun at our technical profession. If you ever gone to a webinar or an in-person meeting, you can be submerged in acronym hell very quickly. And so we started looking at some of the nonsensical ravings that goes on in our world. And so we came up with our own version of what a supercomputer name could be, which is Ichabod. And it stands for the Immersive Collaborative Associative Binary Override of Deterministic Systems.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Man, just hearing that dialogue was pretty scary. And especially when we talked about male computer and female computer, and like get rid of the male computer. Like, wow. It was actually having a conversation, about that.
Yeah. So that's the fun part about it. That was actually a snippet from the Audible. That was done by our
he is our voice of the series, Derek Scholes. He is the best voice actor on the planet.
He did a very good job, I thought.
He is excellent. If we ever get them into the film, we want his voice to be Ichabod because he is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'll tell you how old school I was. I thought, Ichabod Crane? No, it wasn't that. It was something else. Well, I want to encourage my audience here. Here is a list of these books again. And wow. And I did want to ask you, just for the audience, in case they're wondering, is each of these books standalone, or is it a series? Are they connected in any way, just for our audience to know?
We spend a lot of time deliberately to make each one of these books standalone.
Okay.
Now the characters are richer as they progress throughout the series, but you can pick up any one of the books and read it, because we had people do that. It's like, oh man, I grabbed number 3 and I didn't realize it was number 3, and read it and I said, but I enjoyed it, Charles. So can I get the other 2 from you? She said, we would esteem it an honor to be able to sell you the series and have you grow with the characters, because they do. The characters do grow. They evolve. They're not perfect. They're not.
They have human failings. So
do.
they are the R group, and the R group is the cyber heroes at the end of the day.
That's
And
good.
they do fight the cyber thugs, and the cyber thugs are everywhere.
Yeah, and they're always
As they are in real life. Yeah.
just like they are in real life. And so it takes a while for the good guys to be able to piece together the clues to be able to pound them back, as it were, and extract justice for the in the side. These are the people that you want on your side.
Absolutely.
When your bank account, as you indicated, is 0.
So there's a really fun book, Bob, that you would love. And again, they are standalone so that you can read them and be happy.
Okay.
But if you want to see a bank go from totally wonderful to 0,
Which I've seen that.
you want to read the Enigma Wraith,
Enigma Rife. Let's see. That's
Number 4.
number 4.
oh, I see it now. Yeah. Okay.
That is about the ghost code. This is the virulent strain of
Ransomware.
software that was built to be able to penetrate the cyber defenses, get through the firewall, in layman's terms, and then reassemble itself in its poisonous state, and then wreak havoc, hammer the systems, poison everything, and then taunt the people trying to eradicate it by saying things like, "Would you like to leave a review?" Or
So did you like how this behaved? Please leave a review.
Wow.
yeah, or would you give us a review and for a chance for a $10 gift card? I mean, that kind of tweak your nose, and so the final event, and that is very gratifying for the reader.
Well, on a personal note, again, like I told you, I'm not in banking anymore. There's a reason for that. I got tired of the mergers anyway. For one, they get all the big banks gobble up the smaller banks. But I worked for a bank which is no longer around. It got bought out, but it got hacked. And what happened is that the hackers were from Eastern Europe, and they managed to get into the banking system. They actually stole the debit card numbers and customer names from this database. It was a large hack. Then wherever they were in Eastern Europe, they created duplicate debit cards with their own little PIN. So over there, they just did withdrawal after withdrawal after withdrawal. And now all of our customers are wondering, where's our money? It's in us up. And it was thousands of cards.
I'm
and
sure.
and it was. I mean, the bank, of course, lost its reputation. I mean, obviously, it wasn't their fault, but the fact is they were hacked. Someone smart enough got in there and then just milked it dry.
Yeah.
That's a sad statement there. It is their fault, Bob. It is their fault.
Yeah,
Because
security. Yeah,
they're there to be able to, here, I want you to protect my money and let me have it when I need it.
that's true. I think that they should have bigger security for sure. Oh, by the way, the security officer did get fired, obviously, for that. So,
But the network and the way we conduct business is something that has to be 9 ways secure, not just one way.
absolutely.
And the security discussions that, in my role in the technology world, it's always been defense in depth. And we were always amazed when we went in to talk to the financial group. They were usually 2 years ahead of everybody else we ever talked with. I mean, I've been in hardened data bunkers. I've seen stuff that's like, you guys are doing this already? This is only theory. He goes,
Wow.
we buy the latest and greatest for one reason. We're under attack all the time, Charles.
All the time.
All the time. That's what's the old adage, what were you robbing the banks for? Well, that's where the money is. Okay. I mean,
Exactly. Well, I'd like to touch on something that y'all brought up right before we came on this show. Y'all do have the Enigma series out right now, which again we'll talk about that again. But you said you mentioned that you have a new series, either it's in the works or it's out now. So can you tell us about that?
I can. I refused as a co-author to do a book 13. It was just all kinds of wrong in my world.
So 13, there it is.
So we capped Enigma's series at book 12.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we also handed over the reins of the R group to the younger generation because, they're learning technology far faster than their parents were and their grandparents were. So they're several generations into it. And so we decided to start a brand new series, which the first book came out on March 31st of this year.
Mm-hmm.
And the series name is Enigma Heirs.
Enigma Heirs. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the series name. The
Okay.
first book is called Enigma Tracer. And it is available today in ebook and paperback
Oh, good.
from your favorite stores. And the audiobook is being created right now. We should be able to preview that and listen to it next week.
Yeah. But the big thing is that, and this is germane to just about every generation. We all teach. We all show the next generation what's to be learned. We're always we have this accumulated knowledge, and it's incumbent upon us to be able to pass it on. But you always lament, or always think, did I give them enough? Did they prepared? Can they deal with what's coming at them? I can't be here forever. I have to trust the next generation to be able to carry the torch forward. And so this is the Enigma heirs. They've been the people taking over these organizations. They've been trained all their lives to be able to do this. But are you ever really ready for real life when it overruns you and you're in the crosshairs? And that's what we show on the cover of the Tracer. It's the they are the ones who are the buck stops here, as the phrase used to be. They are the ones that they're seeing stuff that the people that hand it off to them never have seen. So it's always, how do you deal with this, Dad, Mom? Well, you need to go figure this out.
Absolutely.
That's what you have to do as the heir.
Sure. There you go. They agree.
Yeah, that's our doorbell barking.
Oh yeah, that's your vicious watchdog, right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you on this new series. Do you envision a certain amount of books in there? Are you going to just keep writing until whenever? Or what's your vision for this series?
So they all have a technology threat.
Mm-hmm.
So how fast technology changes.
Yep, for sure.
So we don't think there's going to be a time where there isn't a threat we can exploit in a story at this point. So, it could go on for another 11 books in this series, and then we'll start another series.
No.
I won't do a 13.
Yeah. Yeah, there's people that won't go to the 13th floor. And all the buildings don't even have 13th floors per se, right?
They don't. They skip right from, 12 to 14.
I actually have a friend of mine. I won't mention his name. Tex. He's scared of black cats. Everyone has their phobia, but he is terrified of black cats. Yeah, I won't mention his name, even though he goes by Tex. Yeah, sorry. He'll kill me later.
Hi, Tex.
Text, man. We're there for you, buddy.
If you see me with a black eye, you'll know that who did that. So, hey, we all have our fears. Mine happens to be claustrophobia. So there's mine. So I'm very claustrophobic. Well, I have some other pictures here. You've got that series, and you have this new series that's coming out. But you've written short stories, according to your website as well. I wasn't able to get them all, but I'd like to just bring a few for our audience to look at. So I'll just bring someone at random. You can kind of tell us about it. Here's the first.
Out of Poland is fascinating.
Out of Poland.
Because it actually is a novella. and it is the introduction to the series. So what happened was we were asked how the R group came to be. And so the R group was actually formed in 1939 when three friends got together and decided to do something to underhandedly attack the Germans as they were invading Poland.
I see.
Yeah.
And so they took baby, and that's what that's about.
Yeah.
Oh,
They,
wow.
Oh, okay. Hidden Target. Hidden Target is we had a character that he was part of the CATS team, the Cyber Assassin Technology Services Group, and he had fallen in love with a lady that was
Brilliant, beyond brilliant.
beyond brilliant,
Okay.
and almost no social manners whatsoever. And it ended rather badly, and so he's picking up the pieces of his relationship, trying to put his life back together, and he comes across somebody that just he clicks with. They
Okay.
yeah, and but what happens is that she's a target, and so the story gets very interesting.
And
very
it's one of the
quickly.
backstories. So
Yeah.
that's
It
why I
is.
was saying before, it's one of the backstories. So
Yeah.
so Brayson has a very interesting history. That's what Hidden Target is.
Sounds interesting. And these actually do too. I like to bring these on board too. So let me know. Tell us about these here too.
So hot chocolate is really about a relationship building with some of our longest standing characters.
Mhm.
So Petra and Jacob met each other actually in book number 1.
Okay.
And so they had kind of a yin and yang kind of relationship for a long time. But in Hot Chocolate, they have a turning point in their life to kind of go forward. And so that's kind of where that goes. It's a very interesting, touching moment for them that they've never had in any of the series, because it's always been the cutthroat killer, kind of stuff. She's an encryptionist, and he is a penetration tester from a network perspective. So,
Oh, I'm intrigued on that one. uh-huh.
And the memoirs of Mom. These are fun exercises. Every once in a while, we'll have somebody say, "We're having a contest," or they'll just come out and say, "We want a story from you on this topic," and it could be on this one. It's the stories of Mom, and we put together a rather colorful picture of my mom
Okay.
and my mom.
and her.
And
her
so
mom.
they're actual real stories. It's kind of
Yeah.
interesting.
So it's part of the an anthology for Mother's Day. So it's
A great Mother's Day story.
And that sounds like interesting. My mom's still with me too, so that might be a good birthday gift, or just
She might love that. She
Yeah.
really might love that.
So,
So there's
okay.
another thing I want to bring up, Bob, if you don't mind.
Please. I mean, we got plenty of time, so go ahead.
So if people go to our website for the 2023, we actually have something called a raffle copter on our website. And so every single month, anyone who reads and reviews any of our books, whether they're short stories, the anthology, our big stories, Audible, it makes no difference whatsoever. But if they post a review on Amazon, BookBub, or Goodreads,
Okay.
and they put that link in Rafflecopter, once a month, we do a drawing for a $25 gift card. Every month this year.
That
And
sounds
so-
great.
They can go to the website and they can see the first names, last name, initial of all of the winners so far. So January, February, March have been awarded. April's open for grabs.
Oh, wow. Did everybody hear that? We all get stuff. So, plus you get the most important things. You get an interesting story. So, oh, wow. So, yeah, remember that. And that can go to, like you said, Amazon, any of the other places.
Amazon, Goodreads, or BookBub. And that the reason we chose those is because that's where people try to look to see if somebody likes stories or does a review or does a recommendation. A lot of people won't read stories unless somebody has recommended them.
Sure.
So the review is very important, of course. And it's a measure of did you enjoy it? I mean, we're not writing for machines, we're writing for people, and so that's why we get into this philosophical discussion and argument about the chatbots, the how many bogus reviews are out there. We try to stay clear of that.
We want people reviews, and we're not
Absolutely.
saying that all of them have to be 5-star. We would like them to be fair and honest.
Yeah.
But you
Sure.
know, I mean, we like opinions that are done with their opinions, not with we're going to beat somebody up or we're going to praise you unfairly. You know, honest.
Be honest, for sure. Absolutely. I want to read this off again in case there's someone listening to this only on the audio. The website is www.enigma book series. That's Enigma, Enigma book series.com. You'll find a lot of good and helpful information there. And also I want to ask you both, is there a way they can actually contact you on this website?
Absolutely. We've got the contact us. We've got our email out there, which is authors@enigmaseries.com. We're happy to take input, discussions, praise, any kind of cryptocurrency that's not bogus. Financial derivatives. I mean, we're open to a lot of touchy-feely type things. So I mean, happy to accommodate.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you both being on the show, not just to talk about your books, but something that I've always, I'm in the technology field as well. And there's some things that, I love technology, but in my own personal opinion, I think and I say we as a society, are we're either A, moving too fast, or B, some of the things that's being proposed is pretty scary. And I realize we live in a changing world. You can't stand still, but sometimes, it's like, do we really need that? I'm just thinking, I think of all the misuse, I guess is what I'm thinking.
Well, there's always, unfortunately, somebody who's going to abuse something that's really good. It only takes one rotten apple to ruin the entire barrel.
Yeah.
And we've always said that for decades. Unfortunately, technologists seem to prove that like time and time again. And so there's a calendar on our website as well, Bob. So if people want to come visit us or see us or find us in some for event, there's a calendar out there as well. So we look forward to people. We've opened up since being shut in for 3 years.
Well, yes, we're finally free.
We're free at last. And so, we have events that we try and do on weekends and get out and meet people because, I really like you. You like talking to authors. I like talking to readers.
Yep.
It's a perfect trade-off, isn't it?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, Charles, Rox, we are very delighted you were here with us tonight to talk about your books, of course, but something that really is real life, is what's happening right now, and hopefully, people will read your stories as the entertainment, of course, but also will look back and think, maybe I should, to be more cautious, maybe I should do this. Maybe to prevent this from happening like it was in the book, maybe I should do this. So hopefully it's not only just an entertainment book, but people will see it as, oh, this is something maybe I need to do to prevent this.
Yeah.
Exactly. That would be awesome, Bob. And I'm glad you see it from that perspective.
Yeah. Well, Charles, Rox, I appreciate you being on the Van Buren Variety Show tonight. And once you have your new series up and running, we'd love to have you back to talk to us some more.
Well, we'd love to. Maybe next time we'll talk to you about the Cozy Mystery series that we're in. That's a lot of fun, because that is also got a lot of interesting twists and turns, and we'll save that story for the next time.
I love twists and turns, so you've got my interest.
An honor to be here, Bob. Thank you so very much for opening up your show for us.
Okay, y'all have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And ladies and gentlemen, that's all going to do it for tonight's episode of Van Buren Variety. As I've always say at the end of my episodes, 1 hour goes by just way too fast when we have interesting guests on this show. But it is a 1 hour show. But don't worry, as I told you, if you haven't already subscribed, you hit that subscribe button. And then next week, we're going to have another interesting guest with another interesting topic. You don't know what it's going to be. It might be the person's profession. They might be playing an instrument. They might be talking about a hobby or just a general interest. You don't know. So hit that subscribe button. And if you like tonight's guest, if you really liked what they had to say and you like their products, their books, hit that like button. And if you have any questions that you're watching this much, much later after the live show, whether it be days, weeks, months later, and you're watching this, and you still have a question for our authors, you can leave a comment on this video, and I'll make sure that they see it, and I'll forward that over to them. So again, hit that like button. We really appreciate that as well. That's going to do it for me tonight. For the Van Buren Variety Show. I will be here next week. Just as a reminder, we do a live show every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. Central Time and 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So for that, this is Bob Van Buren. I hope you all have a great night. Good night, everybody.